The Womb Envy Project examines the deep psychological, symbolic, and cultural roots of how women's bodies, power, and creative capacity came to be controlled, distorted, or feared. One of the clearest examples of this transformation is hidden in plain sight: the shift from priestess to nun. This was not a natural spiritual evolution. It was a deliberate reconfiguration of women's sacred authority. The transformation from priestess to nun is often described euphemistically as a spiritual evolution, a change in devotion, a shift in vocation. That framing conceals what actually occurred. This time, we examine why priestesses were demoted, how their roles were structurally rewritten, and what psychological anxiety this transformation was designed to resolve.
Before Christianity institutionalized power in Europe, the religious landscape was not uniformly male-led. Across the Mediterranean, Africa, and the Near East, priestesses held ritual, juridical, medical, and astronomical authority. They guarded sacred calendars, oversaw rites of initiation and fertility, interpreted divine law, held custodianship over temples, land, and lineage memory. Crucially, priestesses were not helpers to male priests. They were gatekeepers of access to the sacred. Their authority did not come from ordination by men. It came from initiation, lineage, and cosmological roles, often tied to the rhythms of the body, blood, and birth. This posed a theological problem once Christianity sought totalizing control. Christian theology emerged within a patriarchal Roman framework, already suspicious of female autonomy. But it inherited something deeper, an unresolved anxiety around generativity. Women possessed the capacity to create life. Cyclical bodily rhythms aligned with lunar and agricultural calendars. An authority that predated Scripture. This created a contradiction. If God is the sole creator, what does it mean that women visibly create? Rather than integrate this reality, the church resolved it through displacement. Creation was relocated from womb to word, from blood to doctrine, from embodied cycles to abstract law. And women, once interpreters of divine order, became symbols of temptation, disorder, and danger. The church did not eliminate religious women. It rebranded them. Priestesses were not expelled, they were contained. The nun becomes the acceptable woman in religion because she renounces sexuality, renounces lineage, renounces authority over men. Her body is no longer generative. Her voice is no longer interpretive. Her role is no longer mediatory. Instead, she becomes subservient. Where the priestess once stood between community and cosmos, the nun now stands beneath the priest. Obedient, enclosed, silent. This was not humility. It was structural demotion. This transformation was enforced through law, architecture, and theology. 1. Apostolic succession was defined as male-only authority now required a penis-based lineage rather than spiritual initiation. 2. Enclosure laws restricted women's movement. Cloisters replaced temples. Visibility became transgression. 3. Theology redefined holiness. Purity meant absence. Absence of blood, sex, birth, voice. 4. Mary replaced the priestess archetype. Elevated but stripped of agency. Revered but silent. Virgin but not authoritative. This is key. The church did not destroy the feminine sacred. It neutralized it. The nun becomes a living symbol of the church's solution to womb envy. She is a woman without reproductive power, a sacred body without sexual threat, a spiritual presence without interpretive authority. Yet it is her devotion that reinforces the hierarchy. God, priest, woman. And in so doing, she stabilizes male religious authority by absorbing female spiritual labor without granting female power. This is not an accident. It is a system. The demotion of priestesses to nuns was not just a religious shift. It shaped Western attitudes toward women's bodies, suspicion of female knowledge, the moralization of control as virtue. When women are told their highest calling is submission, silence, or renunciation, this is not holiness. It is historical residue. Understanding this is not about rejecting faith. It is about recognizing where power was redirected and why. Because what was taken was never weakness. It was authority.
If this inquiry is something you have often wondered or have come to resonate in its telling, you're already doing the work, quietly or consciously. Subscribe, reflect, and let's continue the excavation into the layers beneath. Because nothing that had to be suppressed for centuries was ever insignificant. If you've been walking with me, you already know these aren't just stories. Here on Substack, I'll be sharing what can't live on YouTube. The full current beneath the story. The mother's throne. Sigil glows. Symbols breathe. The ankh radiates, the music swells. Step into the bloodline. The throne awaits. Beyond the chaos into the light.